Great, brother. I tell you, you know, you look amazing. I love your backdrop. You know,
Thank
I
you.
love everything about what you stand for now. I am excited for your podcast, but I am also excited because we met. It's interesting how we meet people in life, but we meet people when we really need them. And it was interesting.
Right.
I was hosting and speaking at an event, a branding event, which you partook on, and you were actually there. Uh, Doing your branding, but you were also there helping the gentleman, the host. I mean, I was hosting it for him, but you're helping Ray do
Right.
his all the legal stuff that he needed for all the stuff that he's doing. And it was
Right.
interesting to learn from you about, because again, people think of attorneys. You're one of those attorneys that people actually want to talk to. You're the
Yeah,
attorney.
we're good guys. We're good guys, right?
Yeah,
We're not bad.
you're the one that makes dreams come true, man. You're the one that all the hard
Right.
work, you get to protect them, you get to give
Exactly.
them advice, and I've already picked your brain a couple times, so so you know it's interesting how we are, right? We're always looking, okay, hi, but more importantly, you know, I was interesting to me was you were sharing some things about your life at that event, and I've always said to you, well, Tim, one day we're just going to sit down and talk and I
Yeah.
want to know a little bit more about your life. And you know, the other part of it is that attorneys are seen a certain way, and you're an attorney that's also kind of you were always kind of shy. You were kind of just like, okay,
Mhm.
you know, this is my work, and you're focused on it, but you were not really a social person. You weren't a person that were around everybody else. Like other types of attorneys, they cannot wait to network. They cannot wait to talk to people, right? Looking for clients. Clients just look for you. They found you because you're great at what you do. But the biggest thing was for you to find yourself. And that's for
Yeah.
me as a coach, as somebody that's gone through cancer, as somebody that's gone through a life-changing experience. I know what it is to define who you are in life. And you, sir, have gone through this journey. And I want you to share a little bit of that with people because here's the thing. There's a lot of people that are still stuck and
Right.
man, you found a way to get unstuck. And
I know.
this is a perfect way for me to share someone else that gets unstuck and gets to live. And you're literally living your best life. You're finding out so many great things about you. So I was excited to interview you. I was excited to have you on. So please tell our audience a little bit about your journey.
And again, when I say this is surreal, I truly mean it because 2 years ago, I would have run away from this camera. I would have been too afraid. I would have done anything to get out of it. And I would do that. I would self-sabotage on everything, any sort of social interaction, anything that required me to kind of open up and reveal something about myself. Not because I was ashamed, just because I thought I wasn't good enough to fit in that room. My story wasn't compelling enough. I couldn't say the perfect thing, or I wasn't going to say the perfect thing. I wasn't going to be the smartest person. So that mindset sabotaged a lot of my life. And 2 years ago, I had the fortunate event of meeting Forbes Riley, whom
Yes.
you know, and I knew getting in her world was going to kind of jumpstart me. And so I already had this new mindset of, I need to get out of my own way. I need to, in my mind, I'm a dynamic, energetic person, but I always turned that down. I always held back. And why? Why am I doing that? And so I needed to find answers. And I needed to be around people that would push me and that would hold me accountable. And she was just that. I had that opportunity to meet her, work with her, and that led to the event that I met you at. And I started meeting other people like you, slowly but surely. The minute I started to just say, look, I'm going to step out into this uncomfortable realm just a little bit and start meeting people. And the momentum started to build. And I was ready to receive. I
Amen.
was ready. I wanted it.
I want to make sure I share this with the audience. So Forbes Riley, you can Google her if you don't know her, has been, I forgot, QVC, HSN, which one is she?
Both.
Both,
Both. I
okay.
think she's been on both.
She has sold over $1 billion worth of products, probably to you at home. But here's the thing that a lot of people don't know. They just know her from being on QVC or HSN. They don't know that she's a breakthrough coach. They don't know that she is someone that shares her story all the time in front of thousands and thousands of people. They have never seen her on a stage like a 10X or anything like that. The ones that have had the blessing of seeing her. But the blessing for me was to speak with her, share a platform with her. I got to speak at this event and she got to speak at that event. And it was interesting because the one thing that she said to me is, David, I was going to take off for a meeting and I could not leave. I needed to listen to your story. And as soon as she said that, I wanted to know her even more because then I knew, because I already knew the kind of person she was, but then I got to find out so much about her story. And this woman has an amazing testimony. So this is the Forbes Riley that he's talking about. I just want to make sure.
Right.
So keep going.
And Forbes is a person, because I have a technical background. I'm an electrical engineer, and infomercials were my thing. Coming up, I would watch those late night infomercials, and who would I see? Forbes Riley. She's there doing her thing. And I always was just in awe of people who could command a presence, such as yourself, be on a show, be in a public setting, and just emote who they are and own it. And that was just always something that I wanted so badly for myself. So her name just stuck with me throughout my life. And so when I went to the event, the 10X Growth Con in Las Vegas 2.5 years ago, I saw that she was a speaker. I had no idea she was an inspirational and motivational speaker at all. I thought she was going to talk about some new gadget or something that she was promoting on an infomercial, right?
And she probably still did. And she talked about that little thing that she does.
Her spin gym.
Her spin gym, yeah.
But she came out and just blew me away. She said the reason that I'm on the stage and none of the other people out there in the audience were is because she dreamed bigger. And it was so true. I had been dreaming, but I haven't been allowing myself to take that chance and fulfill my dreams. So that she had me in that second, and I pursued her, and I worked with her. She's my coach, and it got me to right now with you. And it's been amazing.
Amen.
My life, these last 2 years of my life have been the best years ever by orders of magnitude.
So I want to break some things down because you said so much that is, I want people to come, get it. There's a difference between hearing and listening and getting it. So I want to, because you're as an attorney, so how do you describe yourself in the workplace when you're, let's say someone like me, I have this invention, I have this big dream, and then I go to you and you're like, okay, I need you to take care of me. What do we have to do? We do a patent, we do a copyright, we do this, we do that. How is your persona when you meet a client?
So I think being an introvert for so long, I'm very thoughtful. So I'm very intuitive. And so I find myself completing, clients' sentences before they do, because I'm thinking, and that was kind of a problem before. I would think so much, it took me out of the equation, because I spent so much time in my head instead of just talking and saying what I felt in my heart.
Wow.
But I bring those skills into my job, and it allows me to really give clients a robust level of service that I feel they can't get anywhere else. I've seen work product of other attorneys, and I'm just kind of dismayed of their quality. So
you're very
thoughtful and insightful.
And you're very detailed. And for an attorney, attorneys can be, because there's all kinds of attorneys. There's an attorney that actually is just can win an argument, but that's not what you do.
You have litigation attorneys, right, that are there doing oral argument. I'm a more transactional attorney, and so I'm very meticulous.
Yes.
And making sure all the T's are crossed and all the
I's are dots.
Yeah, and that those skills were something that kept me kind of satisfied. Coming up, I have a technical degree in electrical engineering. I also have a master's degree in business and MBA, and now I have a law degree, right? And those skills, the opportunity to pursue those skills kept me behind a book, behind a computer. I didn't really have to, up until law school, which I'll get into. Up until law school, I really didn't have to get up in front of a group of people.
Yep.
So it was comfortable for me, right? But in law school, they use the Socratic method to teach, which means the professor is going to call out one or two students for the class, and keep hammering them with questions relentlessly. So every day of law school, I sat there in absolute fear.
Wow.
In fear. Like, I can't even believe I made it through. I remember coming home for Thanksgiving break, visiting my parents, and I just I threw myself on the floor and I was like, I cannot do this anymore. Like, I cannot. And as soon as I said that, like 30 seconds later, I'm back up and I'm like, I gotta study. There's an exam coming up in a couple weeks. But it was that level of intensity and fear because, you know, I was still that introverted person. I was scared and afraid every single day in class. So I still stand to this day in amazement that I made it through. And working through that these last 2 years, to be here present with you talking on live, it's mind-blowing to me because that person in law school, I don't know that person anymore.
So would you say that you tapped into your emotional intelligence? Would you you think that that's probably what you were missing?
Yeah, I think it had to do with me trusting myself. It had to do with me telling myself that I was good enough, and it had to do with me, I think, liking myself ultimately. One of the first things that I did when I went down to Forbes Factor, which is Forbes Riley's training, we stood in a circle and we went around one by one. There was about 40 of us in a room. We went around, and when it got to me, for the first time, I held that microphone. And I got to be honest, it was very empowering because for the longest time, I didn't like my voice because I was told, you know, you sound weird. Like once upon a time in elementary school or something, I grabbed the microphone and Forbes was like, what's your deal? Why are you here? And I think I said some pithy statement like, you know, I get afraid when I have to talk in front of groups. And she looks at me and says, what are you doing right now?
Correct.
And then we went a little deeper and she said, are you good enough? Are you good enough? And we stayed on that for a while.
Yep.
We explored that, and that got me thinking after that day. And then it was a 5-day event. So each day, it required me to kind of open up a little bit more. I started to know the people in the group. I started to trust those people. And that was 2 years ago, and I would call all 40 of them my friends.
Wow.
So I developed this security and trust to just let myself go, let myself just be, not self-filter, not worry about what I'm saying or doing, just be Tim. And lo and behold, I started to like myself more, and I have more friends now than I've had accumulated in my entire life. So it's again, mind-blowing.
So, you know, I'm listening to you, and it's kind of like, it's interesting because we all go through this process, especially in college. I have one degree is in communications, the other one's in marketing management. But the communication degree, I had to get in front of people. And the first thing I remember, the first day, the teacher has said to me, "Oh, so tell us about yourself." Something that I've done a million times in front of anyone.
Oh, I hated that.
But all of a sudden, I'm in front of a group of people that I don't know, and yet it gave me nervous. I could be in a nightclub, I could be in front of 1,000 people hosting an event, and because I knew what I was there for, I was fine. But all of a sudden, I'm in this room with these people, and that was the first time that I think I actually acknowledged what the nerves defined in me. Some people say, do you get nervous? I said, I do. But the difference is, for me, nerves equate that is actually worth it. So if I don't get nervous because I would get nervous hosting, but I still did it. It was like, well, I'm here, I got hired, I need to go out there. I'm here, I'm in a DJ booth, I'm seeing whatever, I got to do it because they're waiting on me. Now I'm in a classroom, and then I go to I become president of Toastmasters. Then I have my fraternity, I'm president of my fraternity, Business College Council. Just like you have these ladders that you go up. But for me, nervous meant worth it. So if I don't get nervous, I shouldn't be here. Like I feel like that. But it's different for many people. I think for some people, nerves can actually not define that way. And I think that's probably for you was more like, I'm not good enough, and that not good enough. And again, you said it, from being a child. So that all these things start from being kids. This is what I do as a life coach. I go back to 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. I want to know what your childhood was like, because that is your environment and you become a product of that. But the problem is you believe those people And those people you
Exactly.
believe the lies. Those
Yep.
people have
Yep.
no input in your life today, but yet you gave them power.
Yeah, yeah, right. And the thing was, yeah, I believed the lie, and as soon as I flipped that, all these amazing things started happening. Oh, and by the way, I worked on a book with Miss Riley.
Come on.
You got my name down here.
There you go.
As an editor. So
wait, what's it? Say the title. What have you Forbes lately? That's everything. Yeah. She is such a branding expert. She's awesome.
And that would have never happened if I didn't have the courage just to go up and ask for a one-on-one conversation with her.
Correct.
And that's what I did. I had that intention. I told myself, I need to just do it. I need to act. If I have an idea, I need to take action instead of just staying stuck, ruminating over it, and ultimately not doing anything. So I flipped from just spinning my wheels to actually gaining traction and acting.
Amen. So now you have the podcast. You're still doing your work. I know you have your clients,
right.
and I'm going to be your client and all that great stuff because I have a lot of stuff that I need your legal advice. So
Absolutely.
From there, now you have this podcast. Tell me about this podcast because I'm interested in being in your podcast because of what you shared about you and your business partner in this podcast.
So the deal is, I'm a very creative person. That's why I like intellectual property law. That's why I kind of don't dress, don't look, don't necessarily communicate like a typical attorney, but that gives me an advantage, and that is so central to who I am, and it was something that I tried to turn down and just so I could fit in with everybody. And as soon as the whole charade was up, I just collapsed. I couldn't communicate. There's just something about me owning my personality, because I've tried to hide it and suppress it for so long to fit in, that I didn't get anywhere. I kind of stayed stuck. Yeah, I was an attorney, and I was doing well, but I wasn't happy because I wasn't being me. I wasn't letting my light shine. I wasn't letting my energy out. And I started with a new law firm 4 months ago, and the main reason that I was hired, not because of my experience, it was my energy. They told me after the interview, everybody in that room, I interviewed with 8 people simultaneously in a boardroom. I'm on the other side of the table. I got a panel of 8 people just hitting me with questions. It was my energy. That was the thing that I was always trying to turn down just so I could blend in and fit in with everybody. So trusting myself, trusting my creativity, and trusting that I have opinions, I have things to share of value. I have my story. I'm a funny person most of the time.
Yes.
So the podcast gives me that outlet to really explore that and play with that. And it's something that my co-host Corey and I started actually a year ago, but we kind of thought, we fell into that negative thinking, like, well, is it going to be perfect? Is anybody going to listen to it? Is it their value in it? And finally, I just had to say, look, I've been on this journey. Corey, we need to just start putting out the episodes. The chips will fall where they may. We're going to improve if we keep at it. But people will see the history. They'll see the improvement. They'll see there's a story here. It's 2 people that wanted to do something. They didn't let their own fear get in their way and stop it before it got started. So that's the Identity Crisis Project podcast that we started. Really, it's letting our true internal identity be shown to the world and owning that, instead of showing up as a filtered version, watered down version of ourselves.
No, I love the title. So, I mean, Identity Crisis, I'm glad you defined it for everybody because that is it. And I think that's one of the things that I try to do as a coach is to get to define your identity, get to define who you are, but also define the people around you. I think that when you start defining the people around you, some of them might not be there tomorrow, but the ones that are there, now you know why they're there. And I think that that's one thing, without you even saying it, that's one thing that I'm listening to you, is that you have defined the Forbes Riley, Corey, you defined the people in your life already. You know who they are in your life and why they're there, right? So, listen, sir, I am so proud of you, and I got to see your charisma and your personality when I met you. To me, you were very open with me. I was so happy about that because that's the Tim that I remember, and because of that, we stayed in contact. That's the same reason we did.
Well, I knew when I met you we would stay in contact because I appreciated how open you were, and your level of transparency is something that I am on the mission to get to for myself. So thank you.
Amen, man. Oh, amen. Whatever I could do, you know you have me. Now, one of the things I ask everybody is to give me a word. I know we have a lot of words. I mean, my message alone is find hope, have faith, and live with purpose. I have plenty of words I can, and you know, if you've heard me speak, I can define words in ways that are always going to be, I try, I hope they're impactful. But what is one, I just want one word from all my guests that gets you up. And the reason I'm saying that, Tim, is because there's people that are going to listen to you, and I hope that they listen to you, and the message of finding out who you are and not be afraid of who you really are, and understanding that you have gifts and talents, and those gifts and talents are meant to be shared. And those gifts and talents also lead you to living your dreams. So again, but at the same time, I want people to understand the meaning of what that word means to you. And I hope that that gives them hope for them to get out of their shell. So I think that's what you're sharing with us today.
Exactly. Yeah, and the word has to be limitless.
Limitless.
You can make a choice today and show up differently tomorrow. You can achieve whatever it is that you want just with a decision, a choice. If I didn't choose differently, we wouldn't be having this conversation. The power in making a choice, and so maybe the word is choice, but you know, you have limitless potential and capability, but it takes a decision, it takes a choice, and you have to stick to it. And that power, I feel it every day when I wake up. There are so many other things that I know that are on my journey that I'm working towards. Sky's the limit. There are no limits. So yeah,
Limitless. No,
limitless.
I like the word. Don't change it. I like it. And I tell you, man, first of all, I want to thank you for coming on today. I want to thank you for always, being you. You've always been you. And I appreciate who you are in my life. And I look forward to learning more from you, to be honest with you, because I know that one thing about your image is that you have to protect it. And I've been working very hard to protect what God has done in my life. And I know that someone like you, I know I have a million questions all the time, but I'm so grateful and thankful that you always take the time to listen and to give me advice if you want to. Thank you so much for being you. And I want to thank Tim for his word limitless. And you know, sometimes I share with people, when I share my story, I tell them about why I feel the way I do. And I try to get people to feel that way, and I know sometimes I can't. And the reason I can't is because they don't know what they've gone through and what they've accomplished. Remember that when you're thinking about you can't accomplish something, or you can't do something, or you can't get in front of people and speak, or you can't, think about all the things that you said you couldn't do, and you've already done it. I remember being in high school and thinking, I'm not going to graduate. Well, yeah, I did. I was. I remember being in college. I said, what am I doing here? And I did it. Doing internships and being part of fraternities and being part of organizations and saying, I am spreading myself thin, but yet I did it. And then I go through cancer. And then again, I said, why am I going through this again? So when you're thinking about where you are today, think about what you've already done. Think about what you've accomplished. When I think of Tim's story, I think of all the degrees. I think of all the education. I think about all the hours that he spent learning something that is so needed today to protect yourself, protect your image, and most importantly, protect your dreams. And he's trusted with that. But now he has come out of his shell and understood that his charisma, his personality, his way of thinking was keeping him away from true blessings. And then his word limitless reminds me of, I thought I was invincible before I had cancer. But now I truly believe I'm invincible. Not the way you think. Before I had cancer, I just thought that I could do all things and not care. But now my life has a purpose. And here's the thing that you have to remember, is that after cancer, I know what God and I know how limitless my life can become if I just allow it. If I just continue to be consistent and continue to believe in my dreams, I will continue to see limitless potential, and I will continue to live with it. But more importantly, I will get to live my dreams and not dream my life. I hope that Limitless and Tim's story gives you some kind of inspiration today to understand that life is limitless if you choose to live it. Most of us are not doing that. Most of us are waiting for something to happen. Most of us are not giving ourselves permission to live our dreams. Well, I know that Tim's story was a perfect story to share with you today. And get to know him, you can go to Lawyer Tim?
LawyerTim360.com.
LawyerTim360.com. I'm going to put all that in the descriptions of this video. But I want to tell you something. Think about how long it took Tim to get to where he's at. Where are you in your path? Listen, don't waste one more minute. Find out what you're truly meant of and what you're really meant to do. And do it with limitless potential. Again, my name is David Octavio Gandell. I want to thank you again for being part of Life Changers for Life. Today's life changer, Tim Hodgkiss, gave an amazing story of how he really got to find himself. And now he's living a limitless life. And like I always say, I leave you with my message. Find hope, have faith, and live every day with a purpose.